Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Millennium TV News. This is Fuzia Dawan with today's top stories. With high-profile help, Obama plots life after presidency. Greece bailout. Merkel faces rebellion by MPs as key vote loans. Wildfires scorch western U.S. from Washington to California. Indian President Pranab Mukherjee's wife passes away. Bangladesh blogger killings, police arrest 3 people. Dear viewers, now the details. The dinner in the private upstairs dining room of the White House went so late that Reid Hoffman, the Lenkel Ballerain, finally suggested around midnight that President Barack Obama might like to go to bed. Feel free to kick us out, Hoffman recalled telling the president, but Obama was just getting started. I will kick you out when it's time, he replied. He then legrand with his wife, Michelle, and their 13 guests, among them novelist Toni Morrison, hedge fund manager Mark Lazary, and Silicon Valley venture capitalist John Doerr. Well past 2 a.m., Obama seemed incredibly relaxed, said another guest. Writer Malcolm Gladwell. He recalled how the group, which also included actress Eva Longoria and Vinod Khosla, a founder of Sun Microsystems, tossed out ideas about what Obama should do after he leaves the White House. Where we will end up, I don't know yet, said Myrtle Nesbitt, the president's longtime Chicago friend who is leading an extensive planning effort for Obama's library and an anticipated global foundation. Publicly, Obama betrays little urgency about his future. Privately, he is preparing for his presidency with the same fierce discipline and fundraising ambition that criticized the 2008 campaign that got him to the White House. The Christian Democrats and their Bavarian CSU allies are divided over the $86 billion bailout. Some MPs suspect that part of the Greek debt will be written off a haircut which could hit EU taxpayers. They also want an assurance that the IMF will contribute to the bailout. The rebellion in the bandage of Wednesday could rise to 100 MPs, German commentators say, a third of the total in Mrs. Merkel's bloc. That could weaken her authority nationally, but a majority is still expected to pass the Greek bailout, as the Social Democrats and Greens want it to go ahead. Finance Minister Volvo Schedule has described an International Monetary Fund role in the bailout as indispensable, but the IMF is avoiding any commitment to it until October, when Greece's progress in fulfilling tough reforms will be assured. IMF Chief Christine Lagarde says Greece's massive debt is now unsustainable. She has called for significant debt relief, well beyond what has been considered so far for Greece. Chancellor Merkel says debt restructuring is on the table for Greece, which could mean extending the repayment period or reducing the interest rates in pace. While the women will graduate from the school on Friday, they will not serve in the 75th Ranger Regiment. The U.S. military has yet to lift a ban on women serving in the fighting force. This is the first year women attended the training after President Barack Obama ordered the military to accept women in combat roles on 2016. The military is working to determine how to best integrate women into combat roles. Opening the Ranger training to women this year is part of the effort. This course has proven that every soldier, regardless of gender, can achieve his or her full potential. Secretary of the Army John McHugh said on Monday, the Army did not name the women but said they are officers and graduates of the U.S. Military Academy at West Point, New York. The 2 successful graduates will wear the prestigious Ranger tab on their uniforms. The 61-day training began in April with 380 men and 19 women. 94 men will graduate alongside the 2 women. The feedback I have gotten with these women is how incredibly prepared they are, retiring Army Chief of Staff Gen Raymond D. Oriendo told the Washington Post. They have impressed all that they have come in contact with. In Washington state, the fires have charred 155 square miles and caused 1,500 to flee their homes. Crews used air tankers, helicopters, and bulldozers to attack the fires, which are made worse by high temperatures, reaching record levels this season and making fires harder to maintain. More than 50 structures were destroyed in Washington. That the number is likely to increase. 30 homes and 75 other buildings were consumed in a blaze in Idaho, already struggling with major drought. Firefighters are still battling the flames and that began in the last few days. A 70-year-old woman, Cherry Lee Whistler, died in Indo during the blazes. She was on her way out of her house when she fell, later dying of a head injury, local authorities said. Soon bathers in Chelan, a Washington beach town, saw helicopters dipping into Lake Chelan to get water for fighting blazes north of the lake. Air tankers made lines to keep the flames from reaching downtown Chelan. In Oregon, wildfires have destroyed 6 homes and caused hundreds of residents living along the Warm Springs Indian Reservation to flee. In Southern California, a wildfire ruined 2.5 square miles of forest near Los Angeles. No one was hurt. A wildfire 100 miles from San Francisco in Northern California caused evacuations and sent haze from smoke down to the Bay Area. Another blaze in the area destroyed 43 homes days earlier. In Montana, the biggest fire burned 21 square miles, with flames blaming in Glacier National Park and on the Flathead Indian Reservation. Lighting storm initiated several fires in Colorado, but no injuries and only 1 home evacuation were reported. The president's wife, Shubhra Mukherjee, had been ill for some time. She was admitted to the hospital on Friday evening and had been brought to the hospital with a respiratory problem. A heart patient, she had been kept in the intensive care unit. In a statement, the Rashtrapati Bhavan said, "It is informed with deep sorrow that First Lady Shubhra Mukherjee passed away this morning. She left for her heavenly abode at 10:51 a.m. Shubhra Mukherjee was born on September 17, 1940 in Jashore, now in Bangladesh, and married Pranab Mukherjee on July 13, 1957. A graduate, she was an ardent fan of India's national poet, Gurudev Rabindranath Tagore. She was a vocalist of Rabindra Sangeet and performed in the poet's dance dramas for many years, not only in different parts of India, but also in Europe, Asia, and Africa. The president's wife founded the Gitanjali Troupe, whose mission is to propage Rabindranath Tagore's philosophy as expressed through his song and dance dramas. She was the guiding force behind all productions of the troupe. The First Lady was also a highly talented painter who had many group and solo exhibitions to her credit. She considered her mother, who was herself a painter, as the source of her creative inspiration and her work's own critical acclaim. She has written 2 books, Chokher Aloy, which is a personal account of her close introcation with Indira Gandhi, and Chena or Chennai Chin, a traveling recovery her visit to China. Shubhra Mukherjee and President Pranab Mukherjee have 3 children, Abhijit Mukherjee, Indrajit Mukherjee, and Sramajita Mukherjee. Viewers, Bangkok bomb. CCTV video shows man leave backpack. PM to attend funeral of Pranab Mukherjee's wife. PM Modi in the UAE. What was on Sanjeev Kapoor's lunch menu? Bangladesh become SAF U16 champion, beating India. Dear viewers, let's move to the next news. The footage from a CCTV camera shows a man in a yellow shirt leaving a backpack in the Yerno Hindu shrine. At least 20 people died in Monday's explosion, including 9 foreigners, and more than 120 were injured. In a separate attack on Tuesday, an explosive device was thrown at a pier in Bangkok, but no one was hurt. Still images of the suspect had already been released. In the new footage, he is shown carefully and deliberately removing his backpack inside the shrine, getting up without it, and immediately leaving the scene. The spot where he was sitting is precisely where the bomb went off a few minutes later, says the BBC's Jonathan Head in Bangkok. There is a suspect. We are looking for this guy. Prime Minister Prayut Chan-o-cha told reporters authorities were quite close to identifying the suspect. Thai government spokesman Machgan Virjan Sotapakka told the BBC, but other leads were also being pursued. He said no motive was being ruled out, but that the bomber did not appear to the Thai and the character of the bombing was quite different from previous bombings by southern Thai insurgents. He said security at transport hubs and tourist sites was being beefed up. Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina is going to New Delhi on Wednesday to attend funeral of Indian President Pranab Mukherjee's wife, her press secretary informed. Hasina, in a statement, said she was profoundly shocked at the demise of Shubhra Mukherjee and offered condolences. She will return to Dhaka on Wednesday afternoon after the funeral, Press Secretary Hassanul Karim said. Her sister Sheikh Rehna and Foreign Minister A.H. Mahmood Ali will accompany her. President Pranab Mukherjee's wife Shubhra Mukherjee passed away on Tuesday morning at 10:51 a.m. Shubhra Mukherjee had been ill for some time. She was admitted to the hospital on Friday evening as she had been brought to the hospital with a respiratory problem. A heart patient, she had been kept in the intensive care unit. In a statement, the Rashtrapati Bhavan said it is informed with deep sorrow that First Lady Shubhra Mukherjee passed away this morning. She left for her heavenly abode at 10:51 a.m. On day 2 of his visit of the UAE, Prime Minister Narendra Modi paid a visit to Masdar city, which relies on renewable energy sources and is designed to be a hub for clean tech companies. During his visit, first by an Indian Prime Minister in 34 years, Mr. Modi seeks to enhance cooperation in energy and trade and promote India as an attractive business destination. He would top UAE business horns, saying India has the potential of USD 1 trillion investments. While the PM discussed urban development and next-generation urban spaces, Star Chief Sanjeev Kapoor dished up a special vegetarian spread in honor of Modi ji and the Crown Prince of Abu Dhabi, Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan. For the lunch held at Emirates Place at 12 p.m., the chef crafted an array of mouth-watering dishes showcasing the best of Indian cuisine. Both were hacked to death earlier this year. Police say British Bangladeshi Tawhidur Rahman planned the killings. Mr. Rahman, an IT expert, is said to have links with the benevolent outfit Ansarullah Bangla team. Police say his arrest will provide evidence about a total of 4 killings of secular bloggers this year. The Bangladesh Daily Star reported that Tawhidur Rahman was also the alleged financier of ABT. He and 2 others were detained last night in the Dhanmondi and Nikatan areas of Dhaka. Bangladesh is officially secular, but critics the government has not done enough to stop the attacks. Last week, police arrested two other suspected members of ABT over the killing of the ethics blogger Niloy Neal. Mr. Neal was hacked to death by a gang armed with matches at his home in the capital Dhaka. In March, another blogger, Washikur Rahman, was hacked to death in Dhaka. Dear viewers, now the business news. Net income of $3.48 billion in the 3 months to July, down from $4.09 billion a year earlier. As they said, like-for-like sales were down 4.7% in the period compared with last year because of tougher competition. The quarterly report is the worst to date for Asda under Wormster's ownership. Walmart sales at stores open for more than a year increased by 1.5% in the period, while revenue was $120.2 billion, roughly unchanged compared with a year earlier. Chief Executive Deng Mkemilian said, "We are pleased that the investments we have made are helping to improve our business, even if it's not as fast as we would like." Walmart said its fall in profit was due to increased investment in staffing, including more worker hours on the shop floor. It also cited weaker profit margins in its U.S. pharmacy business. Shell began work last month, but was allowed to drill just the top sections of two wells off the coast of Alaska. Environmental campaigners are against the drilling, which they say could harm the region. But the U.S. government said it was monitoring Shell's work around the clock to ensure the utmost safety. Activities conducted offshore Alaska are being held to the highest safety, environmental protection, and emergency response standards, added Brian Seller, director of the Bureau of Safety and Environmental Enforcement, which issued the final permit. A Shell spokesperson also emphasized the firm's focus on safety. "We remain committed to operating in a safe, environmentally responsible manner and look forward to evaluating what could potentially become a national energy resource base," the spokesman said. A smaller fall in the price of clothing was the main reason for the rise, the Office for National Statistics said. The retail price index measure of inflation was unchanged at 1%, the figure that will be used to calculate rail fare increase next year. Dear viewers, now the sports news. Jose Mourinho will not face action from the Premier League over his public criticism of his medical team. Dr. Eva Carino and psycho John Ferrer were criticized by the Chelsea boss after they treated Eden Hazard in the 2-2 draw with Swansea. That meant the midfielder had to leave the pitch and briefly left the Blues with 9 men. Neither were on the bench for the 3-0 loss at Manchester City on Sunday. The Premier League said it considers the situation to be a club matter. Rule 7 of the Premier League's Code of Conduct for Managers states, "A manager shall not make public any unfair criticism of any match official or any other manager or any player, official or employee of this or another club." Mourinho has stood by his criticism of Carino and Ferrer, who tended to begin Hazard after he was stripped in the final minutes of the draw with Swansea on 8 August. This reduced Chelsea to 9 men as goalkeeper Thibaut Courtois had already been sent off, and the Bulls boss said afterwards the pair were impulsive and native and did not understand the game. The Portuguese manager, who has been criticized for these comments, says that he and his medical staff have a good relationship. However, it is understood Carino has sought legal advice over the issue. Charles Hughes and Stephen Hedges replaced Carino and Ferrer on the Chelsea bench for the trip to the Etihad at the weekend. Bangladesh under-16 football team have won its first ever SAF U16 championship after beating India on Tuesday. India was the defending champions of the South Asian competition. The young boys in red and green defeated the Indians in a tiebreaker. The final score were 4-2. The match taking place in the Sylhet District Stadium saw no goals in the first half. Just after the halftime, Fahim Murshid from the Bangladesh side scored the first goal from a cross pass from Mohammad Shaun. Indians got back in the match at the 63rd minute with a long shot goal. Full time of the match ended with the 1-1 match score. The game was then taken directly to the tiebreakers according to the championship rules. The first setup of the SAF U16 championship was owned by Pakistan. India was the defending champion of the 2013 setting of the match. This is the first time the Bangladesh team has secured the title. Viewers, let's have a look Millennium TV News recap. With high-profile help, Obama plots life after presidency. Greece bailout. Merkel faces rebellion by MPs as key vote looms. Wildfires scorch western U.S. from Washington to California. Indian President Pranab Mukherjee's wife passes away. Bangladesh blogger killings. Police arrest 3 people. Dear viewers, you are up to date with our top stories so far here on Millennium TV, and don't forget to log in www.millenniumtv.net. Thank you and stay with Millennium TV. Allah Hafiz.